The City Development Program and the legislative agenda. It was 6 billion, the whole of it unfunded. ICT function, we are talking about cutting-edge technology. Now the digital transformation, 2.5 billion, the whole of it is unfunded. Of course, we have already talked about solid waste management. The budget for the new landfill, 235 billion, the whole of it unfunded. It's not there. In this financial year, 235. Solid waste management, Chitezi landfill closure requires 70 billion. The whole of it is not available. And we are saying now, we have to reallocate money from other useless sectors, non-critical sectors, to finance these programs. You can imagine 70 billion, the whole of this is not there. So how are we going to decommission Chitezi? How are we going to close down Chitezi? By closing down Chitezi, the report we are going to give you of COWI and others, we are going to give you all this literature, the studies that have been conducted. We have been advised, because I don't have enough time to explain the processes you have to go through to decommission Chitezi. Procurement and distribution of essential medicines and health supplies in all the KCCA facilities. It requires 10.6 billion. Government has provided 2.9 billion. There is a huge gap of 7.6 billion. So now many people are going to die in our health facilities because what is required to keep them up to the required standard is 10.6 billion to be able to provide health services, medical supplies. 10.6 billion, what I'm talking about is in the budget, but what has been provided, 2.9, balance or the gap, 7.6 billion. Schools, improvement, just improvement of our schools to remove asbestos. Asbestos causes cancer. They have exposed our children to cancer, and this is also another disaster. Time and again we have budgeted for funding. This financial year, it is 3 billion to remove asbestos or asbestos from all our schools because it predisposes our learners, children, to cancer. 3 billion, the whole of it, unfunded. It's not there. Secular land, land for schools and institutions of KCCA. We need to acquire land and build schools because our schools are congested. You go to Chitante. It's another catastrophe in waiting. If a stampede happens in Chitante, Buganda Road, Bati Valley, our children will die. Now we budgeted 15 billion to acquire land, to construct schools, the whole of it unfunded. To keep just construction of classroom blocks. Construction of seed schools, seed secondary school in Nakawa division is one of the priorities. At least a seed school in Nakawa. 3 billion not provided. City markets, what do I have to say about city markets? Oh, just the renovation of the 16, we have 16 markets. To renovate them to be able to accommodate these huge poor people. The women, the youth, the widows, the single mothers, all of them are in the markets. They are all flooded like this. We said at least let's renovate Usafi, renovate these other school markets. They are all here, Kamocha market and what not. Gaba, 1.5 billion for completion of Chitante market. 1.5 billion unfunded. Construction of 2 markets, city division. That is Usafi, Gaba, Kamocha, Ntinda markets, 500 million unfunded. Unfunded. I think that is just maintenance and not construction. 500 million cannot construct markets. Mr. Museveni talked of repossessing markets, that we repossess St. Kudembe, Nakasero, or Chiseka. It requires roughly 30 billion. But I don't think even 30 billion is enough for all the markets. This is not enough. But all of it is unfunded, and so on and so forth. Now, expansion of the mortuary. The mortuary. Do you know the crisis we are having? Our mortuary. Now we are going to have bodies rotting in the hospitals. let me tell you, this year, you'll be having bodies either kept in ordinary freezers, the type you use at home. I think it was suggested that can't we procure some second-hand fridges or refrigerators from Katwe and take them to Mulago? Because our mortuary, we said now, how do we extend its capacity? It requires 5.5 billion to extend the capacity of our mortuary. The whole of it, no, they provided 0.5 billion. 5.5 billion, that's what we demanded. Routine maintenance of 6 health centers, 3.5, amalwaliro gaffe. The whole of it is unfunded. Anyway, this is the last statement. For the KCCA 5-year strategic development plan 2020, 2021, 2024, 2025, that is the current, the strategic plan, currently which is in its 4th year, requires approximately Uganda shillings 2.1 trillion per year to transform Kampala into a functional and livable city. The current KCCA budget stands at, that is 2024, not 2034. 2024 to 2025 stands at 803 billion Uganda shillings. But what has been provided between that difference, the gap, because the budget, the expected budget, 2.1 trillion. What government has provided, 800 billion, leaving a huge gap of approximately 1.3 trillion. How do you expect to avoid the calamities in the city with that huge gap? So Ugandans, unless government does a environment, reallocate certain funds from non-critical sectors to finance the development agenda of Kampala, Kampala will remain dysfunctional, it will remain prone to disasters, and it will be a death trap. Today, in our Kampala is a death trap. In the markets, death trap. In the streets with all this traffic gridlock, death trap. People are dying. 12 people out of 100,000 every year are killed on our roads here. No road safety. So our roads, death traps. Our drainage channels, death traps. Our markets, death traps. All these buildings which are being constructed, death traps. The solid waste plants, death traps. Even the mortuary where you are supposed to be kept when you are dead, it's also a death trap. So Kampala is a death trap. One huge death trap. The earlier we come up with interventions, the better. The earlier we wake up, the better. Or else, Kampala is going to bury all of us one day. And this is not a joke. Kampala is going to bury all of us. We are not safe in a city which is not functional. We're not safe at all. And the very final one, we are saying, before cabinet sits on Monday, let General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni visit Chitezi for once. We are really shocked and disturbed that for the last almost 40 years he has been in power. Okay, you call it 37 to be exact. For the last 37 years, Museveni has been in power. He has never visited Chitezi. Even when this calamity of unparalleled magnitude, unprecedented, at least in the area of solid waste management. Of course, we have had disasters before. But in the area of solid waste management, it's unprecedented in our country. A week, he is in the country. It's not reported that he is sick. And it is not busy anywhere. He can afford to go and communicate with the Bazukuru in social media. He has not issued an official statement. Please, the media who are attributing this, who are saying General Museveni issued a statement, where? He was just conversing with the Bazukuru on his Twitter handle. Just, you picked a conversation. There is no official statement by General Kaguta Museveni. He can afford to call all the media houses and they talk. He issues statements, sujui PDM, sujui this and this. This is not a matter for conversation with Bazukuru in the social media. This is a matter where he should come out and issue an official statement. But we demand specifically, even if he does not issue an official statement, he may not appreciate the magnitude of this crisis unless he visits Chitezi. So General Kaguta Museveni, we humbly invite you, before you go to cabinet, to make a pronouncement that is going to be binding about the future of our city. And in regard specifically to the emergency response to the crisis we are faced, please take time off to visit Chitezi one of these days, at least this weekend. If not today, tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday, before cabinet convenes on Monday. For God and my country.